In the heart of nearly every Unitarian Universalist beats a desire for truth and knowledge. Encoded into our principles is a belief that what is right is not always easy, nor what is wrong undefeatable. We honor civil disobedience as a matter of faith and justice. We honor religious freedom and interpret it to mean that as we grow and as we mature, we understand more clearly things that we once thought essential now no longer serve us. Change is natural. Evolution is inevitable. And our responsibility is to be never stagnant in our understanding of how the world works or the stirring of our divine spark within.
We light this chalice in the spirit of sacred disobedience. We light it to illuminate the right course of action, not simply the safe or popular one. We warm our courage by its flame and share that warmth with others. May it banish the chill of fear and sorrow evermore. Amen. As of today, 2,606,905 people have died from the coronavirus. Many, if not most, have died without loved ones nearby to comfort them. There is a particular type of trauma at play here, and one that will not be easily healed. But we will try. And we will have faith that we shall emerge from this place stronger and more loving than we entered it. 1 year ago this week, we began our global experience. We have been mostly unified in our attempts to find a solution. We have begun to find them. The solutions, however, follow the ebb and flow of human fear and power. The haves and have-nots. It seems as though we have no control, mostly because we don't. At least, not consciously. Our power exists in our individual thoughts and actions, and the subtle ripple effect they make in the world. But our thoughts are infinite, and we have no knowledge of how much power they really have. So let us assume the best. Let us operate as a wind at the back of health and well-being for everyone in all corners of the world, those with money and those without, those with power and those with none, those with knowledge and the rest of us. Take a deep breath now and send a healing exhalation into the world. Send peace and ease into this world beset by illness and sorrow. Take a deep breath and exhale reassurance into the world, so greatly in need it is to be held and comforted. Take one final breath, and into the world exhale courage, wisdom, fortitude, and solution. We have not stepped from this journey yet. We are on the road still. Enough is behind us that we may see where we have been, but not so clearly where we are headed. Yet no matter where it is, we will be together in it, and we shall take our comfort from that. These candles are lit in memory of all those lost, but whose warmth is meant especially for all those who continue to struggle with the devastating after-effects of surviving. Our love is with you, always.
Maybe it's the internet's fault. Perhaps it's the unintended consequences of the information age. Has it made us afraid of in-person connection? Have we learned too much about our own darkness? Too late now, I guess. Well, good. Let's get over it together. This poke in the eye we call our present socio-political culture is a really tough pill. It's very difficult to turn off the news for even just a little while. Why are we so mesmerized by a train wreck? What is the psychology behind our inability to turn from it? I don't have the answer for that, but I see its effects. The fact is, we're just plain afraid of each other, of ourselves, of the dark. The almighty Google has shown us how deep our pain goes, how many long generations of wounds have been inflicted upon one another. The depth of our karma is staggering. It's no wonder we retreat now, or have found ourselves to be among the retreated from. We feel as if the world has abandoned us. Everything's different now. Even without COVID, the shift started long before that. Some of us react to our accumulated loneliness with rage, some with resignation, the rest with sorrow, and some with all. It's time to make a decision. Not the whole world, just you. In this present particular loneliness, which each of us feels to one degree or another, take a moment to notice the contrast you have between what you have and what you want. Examine it like you're tasting it. Pick at the sorrow for a minute. Check the way it makes you feel. Consider using that feeling like a diving board. How is loneliness to be used like a diving board, you may ask? It's an invitation to use your challenges themselves as the fuel to rocket beyond them. Contrast breeds desire. Necessity is the mother of invention. At the bottom of Pandora's box rests hope. The idea is that you can actually choose to look sorrow in the eye, not in defiance, but as a colleague, a partner, in an objective for you to feel better. Pick at that wart a bit. Irritating it may very well cause a new immune response. Even if you don't perceive you're all that lonely, or if you're like me, you love long stretches of solitude, assume at least some loneliness is there. We are human after all. Thank your loneliness for its service and bid it hail and farewell daily. Do it now. Loneliness, thank you for your service. I bid you hail and farewell. Thank all sorrow for what it stands to teach you. Thank you, sorrow, for all you stand to teach me. You're not inviting more sorrow by doing this. Sorrow comes all on its own. You're just remaining open to its fertile secrets. Loneliness is not an indicator of your inadequacy. It's a signal to find connection. Connection that maybe you've just forgotten for a bit. It's easier to connect with people once you learn that life isn't personal. Its purpose is to learn and master things like this. The purpose of life is to figure this stuff out. This is the secret to all life, really. Be non-resistant to all things, within reason, of course, and you will get the most from them. And over with more quickly. Don't wallow in misery. Don't continue to just sit there. Let suffering propel you away from itself, as any good teacher wants of their best pupil. What has loneliness taught you about how to love others? What does it compel you to do about the issues we all have with trust? This is just one among a series of points in the full constellation of your emotional well-being. So few of them are we truly encouraged by society to recognize and release without shame, without the view of their scorn looking over our shoulders at our weakness. Brush it off. Recognize and release what hurts you in spite of their scorn. Find your tribe. Make connection. And then step into it with deliberation. Loneliness is not the enemy. In the end, nothing is. Give the village a chance, especially if you don't think you need to. And for those who have mastered it, help the others. We, as well as our society, have a tendency to get stuck sometimes. Sometimes we get fooled, sometimes we get schooled, but we always have the opportunity to adapt, to both create as well as recreate. We have the benefit of free will. And what will you do with that? Some would disagree with the existence of free will and believe that we are all just puppets, cosmically or earthly so, perhaps both. But the realization of our free will, the realization, is what breaks that cycle. It's what cuts the marionette strings. Your light is free. Your divine spark is completely in charge of itself and makes all its own rules. There's a built-in safety mechanism to free will, which prevents us from just running amok and doing whatever we want. It's an awareness of how our desires fit into the scheme of all human desires. It's empathy. It's compassion. A deeper awareness far above our comprehension of how the puzzle all fits together. It's that part which generally keeps us safe from doing harm with our free will, but we still have it. On the soul level, we understand more about the consequences of our actions. It's our humanity that confuses things, becomes afraid, uses our free will to make bad choices. But behind the scenes of our consciousness, we see the labyrinth a bit more from above. We see the connections between us and our fellow human a bit more clearly. And the more we give ourselves permission to allow our higher selves, the part with the better view, a little more influence in our earthly lives, the less we find ourselves making rules as a society which box people in, kick people out, remove their humanity, or hurt them through the consequences of commerce. Though progress is not a straight line, and we typically evolve 2 steps forward and 1 back, the overall trend is upward. And it is through the recognition of old ways, alongside the invention of new ones, which aims our trajectory even higher. The saving of the world is at hand. It just doesn't feel much like it. We are so hurt and lonely, we forget that progress is love-driven, and so it is a thing of its own which wishes to comfort the sad and fearful. Progress loves to raise people up who barely believed they had the right to want more. Progress is a thing. It's an evolving rule which constantly breaks itself, through its own desire for change. To make ourselves physically stronger, we exercise, right? Well, that process actually breaks and tears muscle fibers so that they can grow back bigger and stronger. A broken bone heals to a strength similar to concrete. This is also exactly how society functions. Growth comes more often as a result of something very nearly destructive than it ever does from stagnancy. Nothing jumps from a standing position. There must first be a recoil, then a feeling of momentarily breaking the rules of gravity itself. The rules and laws of our world evolve constantly. They are made often with good intentions, sometimes not. Good rules serve the purpose of facilitating our growth, calling out injustice. Good rules soothe the fears of intolerance and heal the wounds of our people. Good rules are always about ways which reflect how we have learned we have been wrong. One of the more important maxims in the practice of ministry is to comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable. The comfortable have become set in their ways, concretized, afraid to move beyond. They're like living cells that need a jolt of discomfort in order to adapt and mutate into something better. To be clear, I'm not advocating for the creation of the jolt. I believe these discomforts are self-inflicting symptoms of the effects of progress. It's like an immune response that leaves the body better prepared once it's over. We don't have to go out and create a societal jolt ourselves. This is not an invitation to anarchy, as it is a pathway toward peace. The work smarter, not harder model is simply allowing them to reap the repercussions of their own actions. This is the nature of our world right now, and we have become lonely because of that process. We have become insulated and afraid, and for understandable reasons. But as people of faith, we give ourselves permission to see things more deeply. We assume that all shall be well, and then set about making it so, even if we have to break some rules to accomplish it. Outdated rules of polite society, corrupt rules that favor the wealthy at the expense of the poor, gender rules, racial rules. If we wish for peace on earth, we must meet the universe halfway. We must do our part to recognize where we have failed and turn that soil over so that success has a chance to grow from that spot. We have to vote. We have to make our voices heard. We have to not merely break the old rules, but transform them into ideas more fully in alignment with our truest nature. Our inherent goodness awaits.
Be at ease now, and breathe. Allow the breath to sink into your shoulders and upper arms. Feel the breath extend it even further into your forearms and hands. Feel the breath enter into your fingertips and a gentle tingling there. These hands are the instruments of law. Your hands are what write the rules as well as what break them. They are the tools of our power to facilitate change and heal injustice. These hands are what hold and heal others. They are sacred objects, designed for service and creation. Spend a moment now considering the fact that you are the owner of your hands. Your own tools with breathtaking and miraculous abilities. 2 hands with skills so delicate and perfect that even our best technological scientists cannot duplicate them. They can only approximate their brilliance of design and capacity. Recognize the power within your hands. Thankful for what they provide you, even if they are not perfect, even if they are often in pain. Recognize what good they bring to your life and be thankful for them. You are the maker of your own law, and your hands are the instruments of it. bless them, and praise their work now and always. And with thoughts of what success they shall yet achieve in the world, take one final breath and return.